What if Obi Wan killed Maul? Imagine if Obi Wan Kenobi had turned to the dark side after the death of Duchess Satine. In the midst of the Clone Wars, Obi Wan Kenobi arrives on Mandalore, a planet torn apart by conflict. The once proud city now lies in ruins, with buildings crumbling and fires burning in the distance. Obi-Wan's heart races as he enters the palace, the seat of Mandalore's power, now under the control of Darth Maul. Obi-Wan navigates the dark, foreboding halls, his senses on high alert. The atmosphere is tense, filled with the oppressive presence of the dark side. He finally reaches the throne room, where Maul stands with Duchess Satine held captive. Satine, the woman Obi-Wan once loved deeply, is at Maul's mercy, a lightsaber blade inches from her throat. Maul's eyes gleam with malice as he taunts Obi-Wan, his voice dripping with cruelty. "This is how I will make you suffer, Kenobi," Maul hisses, tightening his grip on Satine. Obi-Wan's breath catches in his throat, his heart pounding in his chest. He reaches out with the Force, trying to calm his racing thoughts. "Maul, let her go!" Obi-Wan pleads, his voice steady but filled with desperation. Maul's grin widens, and in one swift, merciless motion, he drives his lightsaber through Satine's heart. Obi-Wan's world shatters as he watches the life drain from her eyes. She falls into his arms, her voice a faint whisper as she utters her final words. "Remember, my dear Obi-Wan, I've always loved you." These words strike Obi-Wan deeper than any physical wound ever could. They ignite a spark of rage and despair within him, a fire that quickly spreads through his entire being. For a moment, time stands still. Obi-Wan's grief and anger intertwine, creating a storm of emotions he can no longer contain. In an explosion of raw power, Obi-Wan unleashes a force wave that sweeps through the room. The Mandalorian guards are thrown like ragdolls, crashing into the walls and lying motionless. Savage Opress, Maul's hulking brother, is knocked unconscious by the blast. Maul himself is hurled backward, slamming into the throne room wall. Despite the impact, Maul remains conscious, a twisted smile spreading across his face. "Finally, Kenobi!" he sneers. "I sense the dark side growing within you. This is what I've always wanted." Obi-Wan, now consumed by a rage he has never felt before, feels a twisted sense of calm. The Jedi Code, the teachings of his master Qui-Gon Jinn, all seem distant memories. All that matters now is avenging Satine. In a single, fluid motion, Obi-Wan lifts the unconscious savage with the Force and drives his lightsaber through his heart, mimicking the way Satine was killed. Maul watches in shock and horror as his brother's life fades away. Obi-Wan then turns his fury on Maul, his blue eyes burning with an intense fire. He ignites both the darksaber and his own blue lightsaber, charging at Maul with unparalleled ferocity. The throne room becomes a whirlwind of clashing sabers and raw power. Obi-Wan's movements are swift and brutal, each strike fueled by his anger and pain. Maul, caught off guard by the sheer intensity of Obi-Wan's assault, struggles to defend himself. The clash of lightsabers sends ripples through the Force, a disturbance felt by both Emperor Palpatine and Anakin Skywalker. Palpatine, meditating in his dark chambers on Coruscant, is jolted by the unexpected turn of events. His eyes snap open, and he immediately orders his ship to be prepared. On the other side of Coruscant, Anakin is abruptly awakened from his sleep by a terrible vision. He senses that Obi-Wan is in grave danger, a feeling of dread settling over him. He turns to Padme, his voice filled with urgency. "Padme, I have to go. Obi-Wan is in trouble." Without waiting for a response, he rushes to his Jedi starfighter and sets course for Mandalore. Back on Mandalore, the duel between Obi-Wan and Maul intensifies. The dark side energy emanating from Obi-Wan grows stronger, overwhelming Maul. Using his defensive Form 3 style, combined with the dark side's influence, Obi-Wan wears Maul down. Each of Obi-Wan's strikes is precise and relentless, forcing Maul to retreat. Desperate, Maul tries to plead for his life. "Kenobi, please, he begs, his voice trembling. "Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy." Obi-Wan's response is cold and final. "Your destiny ends here, Maul." With a swift and decisive strike, Obi-Wan cuts Maul down, fully embracing the dark side. As Maul's lifeless body falls to the ground, Obi-Wan stands over him, breathing heavily. The throne room is eerily silent, the air thick with the residue of the dark side. Obi-Wan looks down at the red lightsaber in his hand, a symbol of his transformation. He then looks at his blue lightsaber, a symbol of his former self. In a moment of finality, he destroys the blue saber and attaches Maul's red saber to his belt. Obi-Wan Kenobi, once a paragon of the light, is now consumed by the dark side. Hours pass. Obi-Wan sits alone in the throne room, contemplating the path he has taken. The palace around him is in disarray, filled with the remnants of the battle. He is meditating, seeking clarity, but all he finds is more anger and sorrow. His thoughts are interrupted by the arrival of a familiar presence. "Anakin," he whispers, sensing his former apprentice approaching. Anakin Skywalker enters the throne room, his face a mix of concern and confusion. The sight of Satine's lifeless body and the destruction around him fills him with dread. "Obi-Wan, what happened here?" Anakin asks, his voice trembling. Obi-Wan stands, his expression hard and unyielding. "Satine is dead, killed by Maul. I avenged her. I did what had to be done." Anakin's eyes widen as he sees the red lightsaber at Obi-Wan's side. "You've turned to the dark side." Obi-Wan steps closer, his voice calm but filled with intensity. "I freed myself from the Jedi's constraints. Join me, Anakin. Together we can protect those we love." Before Anakin can respond, two red lightsabers ignite at the entrance of the throne room. Emperor Palpatine steps forward, his hooded figure exuding malevolence. "Kenobi," Palpatine hisses, "your turn to the dark side was unforeseen. Join me or perish." Palpatine raises his hands and unleashes a torrent of Force lightning at Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan deflects the lightning with his lightsabers, but the power of the attack forces him back. Anakin watches in horror, torn between his loyalty to his master and the dark power emanating from Palpatine. As Palpatine advances, his lightning growing more intense, Anakin finally makes his decision. With a fierce cry, he leaps forward and attacks Palpatine, catching the Sith Lord off guard. Palpatine narrowly avoids a fatal strike, his focus momentarily shifting to Anakin. "Anakin, you dare betray me?" Palpatine snarls, his eyes blazing with fury. Anakin's face is a mask of determination. "Together, Master, we can end this war." Obi-Wan, seizing the opportunity, joins Anakin in the attack. The two former Jedi fight side by side, their combined strength overwhelming Palpatine. Despite his immense power, Palpatine is unable to fend off their relentless assault. In a final, desperate move, Palpatine unleashes a powerful blast of lightning, but it is too late. Anakin, channeling his rage, cuts through Palpatine's knee, causing him to fall. Obi-Wan steps forward and drives his red lightsaber through Palpatine's back, ending the Sith Lord's reign. As Palpatine's lifeless body collapses, Anakin and Obi-Wan stand together, breathing heavily. The throne room is silent once more, the dark presence of Palpatine finally gone. Obi-Wan turns to Anakin, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You have done well, my apprentice. Together we can bring peace to the galaxy. No more waiting on a corrupted Senate. Padme will lead the Senate, and we will ensure stability." Anakin nods, his expression resolute. "Yes, Master. Together we will forge a new path." The galaxy had forever changed, led by two of its most powerful figures, now united in darkness. The Jedi Order, the Senate, all would bow to the new power that had risen from the ashes of the old. The end of one path marks the beginning of another. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, bound by the dark side, now stand as the galaxy's new order. Their journey has just begun. Will they bring the peace they seek, Or will the dark side consume them entirely? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching. May the Force be with you.